day of the concert, have a rehearsal, take a break for dinner, and play the concert.
It's amazing what you guys can do. I mean, you're really accomplished musicians to be able to do that, to pull that off like that. What made this your show last week special compared to the prior 2 years? Was it the size of the orchestra, the unusual repertoire?
Actually, both. This was the largest orchestra that we've used. So there were 18 performers, which is a little bit bigger, maybe 4 or 5 bigger than we've used in the past. But it meant we had almost a full complement of woodwinds, and then 2 horns and trumpet and percussion. So really chamber orchestra in that regard, as far as not being the big size of a full symphony orchestra, but still having all the color and power of a broader instrumentation. And I think that showed up.
I'm sorry. We just wanted to say last year it was a bit of it was all strings, wasn't it? The year before?
No, we had a couple winds, and Johanna sang with us the year before too. But this is the first time we've had clarinets and bassoon and flute and 2 horns and percussion too.
Sure.
So so the second half of the concert, there was a short Haydn symphony. Originally, people thought that it was a Christmas symphony, and maybe it's actually an Easter symphony, but it's one of Haydn's Sturm und Drang symphonies, one of the few symphonies he wrote in minor, and it just one of my favorite Haydn symphonies, really. And then we did Quiet City, which was for strings. The wonderful Aaron Rahm, trumpet soloist, and Nick Arbolino, this time playing English horn. And then from there to the end, it was music associated with the holidays. So we did the Sandman Song, an evening prayer from Hansel and Gretel, and then a sort of popular set, Charlie Brown Christmas, A White Christmas, and ended with a Mad Russian Christmas, which is Trans-Siberian Orchestra score.
Yeah, and everybody clapping there. Wow, almost clapping at the end there. Yeah. I understand, Robert, that the Chamber Orchestra received an opportunity grant from the Arts and Cultural Alliance of Sarasota. Could you tell us about receiving it?
Well, first of all, I want to say that we were grateful and honored to receive that grant.
Oh, yes, I forgot to mention, yeah.
Yeah, and so we earned the grant through their normal granting process, which is quite rigorous. So there were published guidelines, and I worked on the application, which included a sample of artistic work. So we had a recording from the prior year, and budgets and plans and all the rest of that. So a regular full-blown granting process. I must say that the Arts and Cultural Alliance is an impressive organization. The grant itself is funded by the State of the Arts Florida license plates.
Oh,
so
okay.
And it's important to tell everybody that. So when you renew your license plates, get those. Pay the extra $25 and get those license plates.
So you mean getting like an extra plate on the back, or get a special vanity plate?
No, it's the plate that goes on the back, but it's a custom plate. The state of Florida has about 100 or so custom plates, so you can support the environment and cities, arts initiatives, many causes, and you pay an extra $25 for the plate. Then the plate looks special.
So who do we call to do that? The DMV?
Yeah, when you go to renew your license plate. As you mentioned early in the show, my wife and I have just become Florida residents.
Right.
So we've been doing all the things that you need to do to be a resident of the state of Florida, or any state for that matter.
Sure.
So we had to get driver's licenses in Florida. We had to plate our cars in Florida, which actually meant, the whole, and we'll be doing the homestead.
Homesteading, yeah.
The whole thing. So it was through the course of that process that we actually got our Florida plates. But we've seen them driving around. There are 3 bands of color.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very nice. I like them. So, when you get your license plate, get the state of the arts plate, or for that matter, if there are other causes you're interested in, it's a good way to support things you're interested in that make the quality of life in Florida so wonderful.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some more details about the program coming up then in February 11th again, where we were before.
Okay.
So it's, like I said, it's February 11th, 2020. Where will it be again? And the soloists, the repertoire. Could you talk about that again?
Sure, absolutely. So first of all, I want to also mention that we have a season sponsor, which is the Insurance Hub, which is a sponsor for the whole series. So along with the Arts and Cultural Alliance grant, these are several of the things that really helped us expand our season this year. So we're going to open. Do you want me to talk a little bit more detail about each piece now? Do we have enough time, Richard?
Yeah, we've got about 5 minutes. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, then I will keep it brief with just a couple of little notes. So we're going to open with this string suite by Sir Hubert Parry. Mm-hmm. He composed it in 1914. And we're going to do 3 movements from it: the prelude, the saraband, and the frolic. It's a really charming piece. The Gustav Holst Fugal Concerto is kind of Handelian in character. It was written, let's see, it was written around the time of Holst is best known for his orchestral suite, The Planets, which is a gigantic piece. This is kind of the opposite of that. Neoclassicism was all the rage at the time, and it's Holst's take on it in a really nice way. Then we're going to do Elgar's Serenade for Strings. I should say that the soloists for the Fugal Concerto will be Carmen Bannon and Nicholas Arbolino.
Okay, like before. Great.
Yeah, right. Then Edward Elgar, Serenade for Strings. He wrote it a couple years after the Enigma Variations, which is probably still remaining his most famous piece. It's in 3 brief and lovely movements. There's a Allegro piacevole, which means Allegro kind of in a friendly way. Mm-hmm. Then there's a Larghetto that reminds me of the Nimrod Variations, and then a charming little Allegretto to conclude it.
Wonderful.
The second half, as I said, it's by Henry Purcell. It's from his music to the Midsummer Night's Dream. Actually, the piece, the opera or semi-opera it was written for is called The Fairy Queen, which loosely adapted on Shakespeare's comedy. Mm-hmm. We're going to do 3 or 4 movements from that, and then will come the suite from Henry V, 2 movements from that 5-movement suite, the Passacaglia, which is the Death of Falstaff, and Touch Her Soft Lips and Part, which takes place right before the Battle of Agincourt in the film. This is the Olivier film, by the way.
Sure.
Then the Hamlet elegy. So Tchaikovsky wrote an overture to Hamlet in 1888, and he was asked at that time to write incidental music, and he didn't get around to it. But 3 years later, the same actor, an actor named Lucien Guitry, asked him to do incidental music, and he did deliver that time.
Right.
And then the concluding work will be the overture to, well, in Italian, Giulio Cesare Inigetto, or more commonly known as Julius Caesar. It's an opera seria. And of course, in this case, it's based on a libretto by a couple of Italian writers, and not based on the Shakespeare play. But it's the same subject matter. So.
Now, we only have about a minute left, so you're going to be working with the Urbanite Theater. And the plays, you told me what the plays, there'll be actors doing maybe a little thing too?
That's exactly right. For example, Puck's epilogue from Midsummer Night's Dream is a perfect introduction for that.
Okay.
Or King Theseus's Lovers and Madmen speech, the Agincourt speech from Henry V.
Wonderful.
Wonderful speech, and really sets up those pieces very well. Good Night, Sweet Prince from Hamlet. And I think we're still debating exactly which of the many great speeches from Julius Caesar to use to set up that overture.
Okay, now I have to go to some details there. There's going to be a reception afterwards at 7:30.
That's right.
Assume. And the tickets are what about, I forget how much they are now. And
tickets are $25 for adults, $15 for students. You can order them online at either the Church of the Redeemer's site, or go to the Chamber Orchestra of Sarasota's website and click on buy tickets.
Perfect. Well, I'm sorry, Robert, we only have about 15 seconds left. I want to thank you for your participation. I've been talking with Professor Robert Vodnoy. He's with the Chamber Orchestra of Sarasota, the director. For more information about the coming concert and about the Chamber Orchestra of Sarasota, be sure to buy tickets for the show on February 11th at 7:30 p.m. Church of the Redeemer, 222 South Palm in downtown Sarasota. Visit their website at Chamber Orchestra Sarasota. That's chamberorchestrasarasota.org, or call 219-928-8665, 219-928-8665. Thank you, Professor Vodnoy.
Oh, you're welcome. Great to talk to you again.
So I'd like to thank our guests for being on Curmudgeonly Yours today. And please, if you like what you heard, send me an email to richard@richardbont.com. And if you didn't, please keep your comments to yourself. Remember, this is Richard Bont and Curmudgeonly Yours on Society Bites Radio, where everything is what it seems, nothing is what it seems, and what is not said is often of most interest.